we're going to figure this out as we go. And I think that Mike is definitely going to have to take some lead spots with these facts, because that'll help our podcast listeners.
Wait, what?
We're recording again.
I think that you're going to have to take some lead roles on these monologues, because you have some good facts on your screen, and people could use those.
Back to what I was saying about the blackout. We never, ever, like what this dude says, we're terrible at listening to fucking warnings. Like,
Yeah,
I could say that 3 million times after he said that shit, dude. Like, we never, ever listen to warnings.
what I was saying was, it's weird because back then we would have been fine because everyone was living like this anyway. But if it happens now, it's almost as if we are dependent on the technology.
Well, yeah.
So,
It is as if.
It's a little sketchy.
He said it's almost as if.
It's like, all right, okay, so we put out a test. If this corona thing doesn't work because people are protesting and they're not going to bow down to the government, well, we go, and maybe it's not the blackout that's phase 2, maybe it's something else, but phase 3 might be the blackout, which would be the final test of, all right, let's see what we can do now.
I mean,
because all right, who the hell shot up those places with AK-47?
Well, you know what's interesting, Mike, is the fact that you're bringing that up. Here, let me share my screen one more time, because actually what was interesting is one detail on here that you bring up. Of course, you have to bring this up, but
also explain to the viewers what happened with the AK-47.
What?
Explain to the viewers what happened with the AK-47.
I thought we already went through this shit.
I know, but just in case.
So basically, he was saying that if you think that this shit is so crazy that there would ever be some sort of attack on a power facility, it's already happened. And it seems that it's a concern that it could happen again, or on a massive level. For instance, well, hold on. Let's focus on this real quick. If you look here, in October of 2015, it was reported that the Department of Homeland Security had found indications that the attack may have been committed by an insider. Oh, man. Meaning somebody within the government, the federal government.
All right. Tell me how they got away with it. In 60 seconds, they were gone. These are high-trained professionals. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
What insiders would be.
Yeah. I mean, clearly it was coordinated. Like, something was up here. I'm not sure. We don't know. I don't know. Like, this, we're going off of a TED Talk, so it's kind of a little tough. I haven't dug too much. But one of the things here that I was going to show you is that, what's that?
We'll link the video below on this video.
Yeah. EMPs can come from a variety of different things. So you guys have heard that word, right? Like EMPs? Yeah. Electromagnetic pulse.
Call of Duty, man.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there's even instances where you can use nuclear warheads themselves to actually disrupt magnetic fields in general. So I don't want to get into this shit too much, because I just don't really know much about military technology and the different things. But clearly, what they're trying to say is, especially that dude, was that there are other actors out there, potentially the classic people that we're always fighting with, whether it be Russian, Chinese, or something like that, or terrorists, that could possibly utilize something like this. And the system is a lot more fragile than you think, is what he was trying to say. And I'm like, anybody who tells me like you wouldn't believe how fragile this or that is, I believe him, man. I believe him now, because it didn't seem like they had a massive game plan for what was going on right now.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't seem like everybody knows what they're doing.
I think in the end, this is sort of just like a wake-up call for us to realize how connected we are to sort of all of this infrastructure. And like in the end, and instead of worrying, like, obviously any of this could happen. Like, I think in the end, the safest thing to do is just be self-sustainable. Like, and that's kind of always been my goal, is like to figure it out. Like, let's say we have 5 years, 10 years, even if we have 1 year or we have a couple weeks, it's like figure out how to be able to live on your own grid, or off the grid, as you would say.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think it's just going to depend on where you are and how like how easy it is that it will be to survive.
And not everyone
If
is going to be able to do that at all. Like, if you're in an urban
exactly,
area, it's game over. Like, you have to either leave, or you have to like set up pots outside on your rooftop to collect rainwater and then boil it.
yeah. I mean, and even that's like, I mean, what happens if it doesn't fucking rain? It's crazy because right now, imagine right now if that blackout happened right now. Like, we have no control over the sun. Zero. We don't have any control over any of that. So let's say we take away the conspiracies, we take away the possibility of terrorists, we take away everything, and it's just our own universe that fucks us. Like, it's just it happens right now. Imagine if it happened right now. Wherever you're sitting, wherever you are, all of a sudden everything goes dark. We no longer have any communication. You cannot call me. I can't call you. You can't call your mom. You can't call your dad. You can't, like I said, whatever your phone is charged at, that's what it's going to be at. And once it's dead, it's dead. You're done. Like, and even if you have your phone, it's fucking useless. It's a brick, dude. It can't do anything for you. The internet's down. Everything is out. And the fact that this is actually a serious concern, do you know how much of a concern it is?
Is it possible?
What's that?
Wow, that was super. That was super delayed. But right now, I'm
What?
good.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, I was gonna say, in a show I just watched, The Colony, the EMP even shut down the engines of all cars. Is that a real thing, or is that just
Yeah.
fiction?
Well, somebody was saying that, like, or wasn't he saying that all cars made after
Yeah.
this year rely on a computer to coordinate it? So any car, any vehicle after a certain date would either have issues, or, and even if it did, it doesn't matter. Like, the tank, in the gas that you have in your tank, that's all you really have. Like, unless somebody's able to tap those gas stations, and even then, supply chains, like what we
Yeah,
talked about with the pandemic.
those gas stations are all electronic.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty much paralyzing. And imagine a place like New York happening to, like, all of the public transit, everything goes down. If you're in a subway, you're just stuck in the tunnel. It's black, you can't see. You're stuck in there. I mean, this is like a type of thing that could happen at any given moment. It could happen. We could be sleeping and you wake up. Oh, the power went out. Oh, that's weird. Everything's out. And you start to realize, neighbors out, everybody's out, can't get in touch with anybody, can't get the news. Holy shit, the whole fucking state's out. And then all of
That
a
would
sudden you
be
realize, like, that would be scary.
one of the most interesting parts to that would be that there would be no media outlet. There would be no news. Like,
Nothing.
you would basically have to figure it out for yourself. Like, there would be no way to absorb the information that's taking place. Or would there
Honestly,
be? I don't know.
I'm starting to think that we are gonna actually witness that in our lifetime.
What's that?
I think we will witness it. I'm really thinking that, like, that the corona might have just been the tester, like the test wave to see what happens. And
But I'm more also like, I don't know, maybe it's just the books I've read, but I know obviously that past has there's been so many bad things in history, but it's also like there was this form of like lifestyle that almost seemed like this next phase of life is going to be nothing like this lifestyle I used to read about, like the American dream and all of that. Like, it just sort of seems like the next 40 years is going to be very intense within like things that none of us could have ever really predicted. I think things are getting so advanced at such a quick pace that it's like the average person can't even predict what's about to happen, but when they see it happening, it's going to amaze people.
Yeah, I mean, imagine just AI alone. Like that whole thing is going to be a huge hurdle and a huge game changer to everything. I mean, like screw the Hollywood like type of, AI Skynet, Terminator goes live and shit like that. Like think about what like Andrew Yang was saying, just the concept that if you can just automate trucks and all of a sudden tens of thousands of people are out of a job because they're no longer truckers, or you can automate. I mean, I forget what fast food restaurant it was, but just like there was something where they were saying that like the entire place could be operated with not a soul in there, like maybe just a manager, and the whole place is automated. The kitchen is like a factory line that can cook food like immediately, like quick. And
How,
what?
how long until that?
I don't think that's that far away. See,
I'm
the thing with these two things is like, let's say the blackout thing. I don't think that the human like us will be utilizing something like that for some time, but the fact that it's a possibility is scary. However, as we had just said, I mean, the solar flare could be bigger and just fucking fry us. I mean, we have no choice. We wouldn't even know. I mean, if the blackout happened from a solar flare, it would happen right away. It would happen right now. Everything would go dark, and that's that. And sadly, it's like I don't even know if anybody would see each other ever again. Like I'm
but
like it kind of scares the shit out of me.
in a way, I kind of feel like I would prefer the solar flare. Like at least in that light, it's nature. Like it's kind of out of your control at that point. It's just like
I disagree, man. I would rather have I would rather go through this AI. Well, no, if it was an EMP, like talking about that scenario, like actually no, yeah, I think you're right. If we're just talking about a blackout, the solar flare would probably be the best thing to happen because then there isn't like an advantage type, there isn't like somebody on the high ground that might do
I'd
something.
rather I'd rather nature than a bunch of hate upon nations where there's like this big war going on and there's all this tension. Whereas if it's like outside of all of our control, maybe we could unite together to kind of protect from this.
You'd rather it be a solar flare or aliens? That would get freaky.
Aliens is like such a different variable to this, though.
I would
I
say
mean,
I'd still probably prefer the solar.
If they were going to come after us, they would probably knock out our electric first thing.
I mean, it would probably be pretty. I imagine, yeah, that would make the most sense. I mean, just instantly paralyze us just to try to see, and maybe understand or talk or something without us having some sort of power.
The
Here's my
AK-47 man could have been lizarded up. You know what I'm saying?
here's my view on the aliens, though.
No, I don't.
Here's my view on the aliens. As complex of beings as they are, it's like if they're this intellectual and they're this advanced, they've been around many, many, many generations, and it's not just like they're just going to randomly appear within our 80 years of life across thousands and millions of years. So these guys know we exist, and they just keep tabs on us. I think that they come down all the time, and I think that there's a lot of people in contact with them. But I think they're just low key. They're like, they walk in the shadows, that's all. They mind their own business, and I think they're full of love.
Well, I will say, Vin, if it's the case that like human beings have only been around 100,000 plus years, and it's like if there was some kind of race of thinking things, you would think that after several 100,000 years, they figured out that they don't need to fight endlessly and, just constantly have issues and maybe start. I mean, like what you're saying with the whole consciousness thing, just imagine if that actually was the case, like where we all just were like, you know what, we got to fucking start focusing on other shit. We got to stop the competition and all that stuff. I mean, part of it is the competition drives it, but if we were to go into that third, what were you calling it? What is it called? The new state of mind or some shit?
The new consciousness?
Yeah. Like if we were to go into that, I mean, we would probably have a way different.
Oh no,
I don't even really.
I want to save it for another episode, but when we enter the Enlightenment era, we will be communicating with all life. That's a fact.
You might as well just say it now. I don't gotta wait for another episode.
That could be a heavy amount of content. Actually, what I did want to say, though, just to touch back on, is we were talking about both. We're kind of jumping around subjects here. We went from fucking the blackout to AI to aliens to interconscious.
Well, this is what people want to hear. I feel like the whole corona.
No. I get it. I just want to make sure that like you kind of tie up loose ends. And I was gonna say that I think that AI is gonna be a concern that happens in the next maybe decade. Or maybe 15 years.
I think it's going to be around the year, 2030, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be like sort of hitting its peak.
Which is extremely real.
And that, honestly, I think that that's one of the scariest things to me. I know the blackout was one of my newfound terrors, but the
AI is also more, the probability is way higher.
Oh, AI probability might be at like 80%.
I think it's higher. I think AI probability is basically 100% chance it's going to happen. It's just when. It's really whether or not it happens in 2030 or 2040. I mean, I think that
the next question is, do we have the capabilities of like staying I don't know, surviving through that tech bubble when everyone loses their jobs?
Yeah, the job factor, like Andrew Yang is talking about, is going to be a really interesting thing to see. So many millions of people, like as the population continues to increase, we might have to call up Bill Gates and get him over here to figure shit out, Mike. But
I see it going more back in history where it becomes almost an anarchy, because no one's just going to sit around with no job when billions of people have no jobs. What's going to happen? They're going to start. People still want to climb up the hierarchy in life, so they're gonna make their own mobs and try to like grab power. That's definitely what would happen.
I mean, I totally, like, to be honest with you, I think that would be the next step. Would be groups of people joining together and creating these little, I don't know, armies.
Well, I think there's a couple different questions when you think about AI. Is like, I think we talked about it like 2 weeks ago. Like, who gets it first is the first question. Like, and that's a huge question because, like we said, what happens if the Chinese have it? Like, or what happens if the Russians have it? How does the world respond? What will they do with it versus what we will, versus what another nation would do with it? Would they tell you? Would they even let you know that it's occurring? We don't know. And so like the competition factor is very real.
Well,
And
what is occurring?
what?
What exactly are you talking about? Like you're saying,
I would say like some sort of AI weaponry, military like style AI weaponry, to the point where I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that looks, but like just the sophistication behind it. Like I think we're all going to kind of like get towards that arena. And I mean, Vin, you're talking. I mean, right now, I mean, you guys do the photography and everything and fly drones around. And we've talked about this before. It's just like, just imagine, like, if you guys have this type of like equipment just at your house in New Jersey. Imagine what does the Pentagon have? You know, like what can they do with those drones? How smart are they? And that right there, I mean, that could be the dawning of AI, you know, just giving them a mind of its own.
I mean, as of about 5 years ago, the government's been flying drones like miles and miles away. Like you can drop missiles, bombs over like 20 miles away.
What was the video we saw like that with the drone over the lake? Who runs that drone?
What lake?
Mike, you know what I'm talking about.
What lake?
The one that's saying social distancing practice.
Oh, you're talking about at the Brooklyn Bridge that B showed us?
Who the hell is running that?
Vinny, I got breakup.
I'm getting broken up over here too, Mike.
Well, from what I know is, Mike, I'm pretty sure that's just a state authority doing that, probably. Like, I'm sure it's run by like the state of New York, something like that. What? Why is that so absurd? Why the fuck is so absurd?
I personally don't think it's that. What I do think is that I do think that a lot of people twist some of the news a bit. I think that it's probably some sort of hobbyist drone pilot.
Mike, something's going on over there.
Which cop do you know?
Mike, something's going on over there. You got to fix it.
I'm not. We're gonna ride this wave through.
All right, let's just go. They're trying to interrupt you.
Which cop do you know that's sitting off duty? Is like, yeah, I mean, we got about like 100 drones, you know, in our little police office.
Dude, they've had drones for a long time. I know they have drones here that they were fighting over that about in the courts about whether or not they could use it for tracking speed limits.
Well, I have a first-hand example of this. I've trained a full police force how to fly drones.
Exactly.
So, and this was about 2 years
All
ago.
right. All right, I take that.
Why does it have to be from the Illuminati? Like, why is it so absurd to believe that New York State Police own like 5 drones? I don't know why that's scary. Like, they definitely got the money.
No, it makes sense. That's not.
They're $1,000.
Who do you think it is, Mike?
They're $1,000.
Or Vin? You said you didn't agree with me.
Me?
Yeah.
So I personally don't think that New York is flying the drones. I think that they're hobbyists that are really into what's going on, and they're trying to push people to stay home. I personally think it's like a group of pilots, probably from New Jersey or New York, that are like dispatching and like talking to each other just to push this message. Because the only reason I'm saying that is that I've been reading articles about basically New York or people calling the cops and then the cops reporting to the FAA that there's somebody flying drones at speakers and they shouldn't be doing that. So the FAA was fining pilots for doing that.
Ah, okay.
So I don't think it's New York itself.
So you got the insider knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, either way, the drone thing could be a huge avenue to AI in general. And apart from just weaponized AI, like when we say AI is such a vague term, but like the fact that you could get a truck to drive from fucking Seattle to Minneapolis without a driver in the car is basically what I'm talking about.
Could I also, I just want to talk about the drones a little bit further for a sec.
Sure.
I think the biggest reason that I personally don't think the police forces are using drones as much as they could be, because I think that the U.S. government has a fear of using DJI drones because they're owned by China, and basically China has all of the data from any of the drones that they can kind of look at and use however they'd like.
The Chinese thing, dude.
No, I'm just saying the Chinese own DJI, and DJI is the easiest, most reliable drone on the market, and that's like the professional grade equipment that the cops would be using. And they don't want to use them like too frequently because anything the drone sees, technically they have the data to be able to see all of that information.
See, that was my point. I just didn't know it yet, you know?
It's very deep.
That was my point of the Brooklyn Bridge incident. It's like, come on. What's going on there?
So, if like, I don't think that like, just going to the Chinese thing real quick, these guys are gonna. I feel like they're gonna be the ones that get this AI stuff going, man. Like they're way different than us. They're on a different level. Like what I mean, like I said, when we're watching them build that fucking hospital in a week, like these guys are relentless. They're good. They're fucking good. That's what it is. They're good. You know, they're smart, they're great, they're doing good shit, man. I mean, so just to show you, just to show you one thing, something just popped into my head regarding this. And this was really like one of the times when I realized that China was not messing around. I'll just screen share my screen real quick just to show you what I'm talking about. Been talking about AI and everything. I mean, it is kind of like, it makes sense. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Look at this. I read this whole article and this shit was fucking insane. Basically, these companies identified in their, like in these computer systems and whatever it was, some of these were used for the Pentagon as well. Look at this. Communicate with the International Space Station, funnel drone footage to the Central Intelligence Agency. Like, this shit is crazy, right? This has CIA and stuff written all over it. Now, Amazon, basically a summary of the article, you can read this later on. Amazon was making this stuff, like helping the US government make a lot of this stuff. Now, when they got their parts back, they noticed that there was like a little fucking piece, like when they ran through the diagnostics, right? And this thing had the smallest chip in the world. Like, this little chip is like a grain of rice, apparently.
Huh.
And it was on everything.
Wow.
Everything
Look
that they
how
had
small that was.
purchased.
Interesting.
What's that?
I'm looking at how small that actually is.
Yeah. And this is just the type of level that I'm talking about. And I'm not it's not just about like China, but it's also relevant to like what we're talking about like how quick everything is going and how the competition is there, man. It's major. Like it's a big deal, like to be on top here. So for you to get all of the data, for you to get all of the knowledge, for you to just come out on top with some sort of technological advancement, it's what everyone's clawing for, man, especially the Chinese. And there's some fears there with me because I do wonder, like, what would happen if if we got AI here? Like, it freaks me out, but I really get freaked out about what the Chinese would do, you know?
Well, AI
Like,
is already here.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, it for all intents and purposes, it basically is here, but it's just
I mean, you talk to a robot on your phone called Siri, and you talk to Alexa and Google and all those freaks. Those are all AI.
Do you think that there's lethal AI out there yet?
well, yeah, military AI.
So you
I mean,
think there's
military drone, they're controlling it. No, that's different. Sorry. What do you
Well,
think?
do you think there's AI that will kill you?
I think that the AI itself doesn't know it's killing, but I think that the AI can be controlled to kill without the AI knowing what it's doing.
There's also an ethical standpoint of AI that we would eventually need to ask ourselves, because essentially what we're doing is we're doing basically modern day slavery. Like, what happens when these things are basically close to being human? Like, we were so anti-cloning people, you know, you can't do that, you can't clone a human, which again, the Chinese, I think that we think that they've done that. But
What are you saying, right?
I'm saying that, like, when we do create AI, like, and let's just say you have,
But they're
let's just say it gets to the point where you can actually have like something in your house that like either flies around or walks around or does whatever for you. Like, do we ever get to a point where we ask ourselves, like, should we be, like, how ethical is it to manipulate things that could maybe think for their own, have feelings and things like that? I don't know. It's just like something to think about. Like, as time goes on, this is not 2030. This is definitely not 2030. This is more like 100 years from now, you know? Like, potentially, if depending on how far you create it, you're creating a form of life.
Speaking of AI, I wanted to talk about something me and Ty actually just talked about. And it's a little futuristic. But basically, we were talking about, like, let's say your family goes to Disney World. Your whole family goes, but your grandma, I don't know, something, she's hurt, she's getting a little bit too old, she can't make the trip out to Disney. But Disney has this new feature where grandma can wear a VR headset and she could go basically be with the family at Disney. And in Disney World, there would be this little like artificial robot that hangs out with the family that the grandma can see through, but the grandma can also speak however she wants, and this little robot will articulate what the grandma is saying to the family. So you're almost with the person still. It's like a deeper dimensional FaceTime.
You guys should have kept that in the Simply Visual Vault and patented it and everything. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
deep,
it sounds
though,
like
right?
a really good. It sounds like a good idea, though.
It's pretty deep.
I mean, is that a thing?
I don't know. It might be soon after this.
I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that, but I definitely dude. There's so much shit that's gonna change, man. Like,
I'm talking my timestamp on that, just so if we can look back on this, my timestamp for that is gonna be 2035.
think so.
Yeah. If not sooner.
I can't believe I'll be like fucking 45, almost 50.
Like what's crazy to me is that could come out like next year and 50% of people wouldn't be that shocked.
No, I mean,
It would just be like, oh wow, that makes sense. Okay, crazy.
I feel like even now,
Let's be honest,
when you, what's that?
We don't even need cashiers anymore. Come on.
We needed that one guy at Quick Check. Remember when I fucked it up 3 times in a row?
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah.
You need one guy in the store. One.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, why would you need like, I mean, unless there's like a high demand, it just seems like, I don't know, dude. Even when I go to like fucking the airport and I will get like McDonald's or something, they have like that little pane that you can go up and like do what you want, and I always just sit there and talk to the cashier. I don't know why. Like, if you guys had the choice right now and like let's say there was no line, would you just walk up to the cashier?
What do you mean?
Like, would you choose to like select it through those screens if there was a cashier there?
I do it every day.
I'll go to either, honestly.
You don't care?
If there's no line, I'm going to the cashier.
Because then you can just say it quick.
Yeah, and he's also staring at me.
He's like, oh man. Yeah, that is a lot of crazy shit. Oh, fuck. I don't know, dude. So one thing I want to talk about, though, is, Mike, are you going to stop in Minnesota?
So, I mean, should I?
Vin, I mean, doesn't that make a tiny bit of sense?
What?
He's driving to California in like 10 days, is it?
It's 9 now.
9 now?
8. Almost 8.
So, Mike, I guess if you guys are asking for my opinion, you want to hear it?
Sure.
I would say that it honestly, with everything that's going on, I don't think you're in any sort of rush whatsoever. Like, you don't really have a destination. So, like, if I were you, I would take that original path. You hit, Nashville, go down to Texas, but then why not just go straight up to Minnesota and hang there for like a
I
couple
mean, why would I
days?
go to Texas and then back to Minnesota? I wouldn't do that.
I mean, literally all I'm saying is that there's no rush to get to LA. Honestly, you probably want to delay as long as you can.
I don't think that I think that the country's gonna be open by May.
But I'm just saying, like, why
Oh,
not
shit,
go
dude.
explore
It is
every
not going to
state?
be open.
Dude, Louisiana is opening back up.
Louisiana is not California.
No, not
They're
Cali.
way different. Yeah, but that's where
No.
you're going. You're gonna go there and you
no,
won't
I'm
be able to
going
do anything.
wherever the hell. I'm not. I'm going wherever the hell the world takes me.
So
I
that's
would
all I'm
recommend.
saying is I wouldn't count Minnesota out because I feel like if you have no destination, if you're feeling drawn to Minnesota, you might as well just go. If you're not, then you're not.
I think Cole was just talking more in like if you are gonna do the trip, like you could check out some spots up there and then chill with us for a little bit because I just really don't think that anywhere in the country, like aside from like sights to see, like I really don't think there's gonna be a nightlife anywhere, dude. I really don't think there's be anything going on. Like even if Tennessee
No, I
opens
mean,
back
no
up,
way.
like I said, those are private places on like in Nashville and stuff, and a lot of them may delay because and even if they do open up, there might not be anybody there. Like tourism, people aren't flying. Like it's just gonna be
Until
really
May.
like low key. Dude, you should go to Vegas. You should stop at Vegas because I want to see that shit shut down, man. Just weird.
Yeah, I'm going. For sure.
You'll be the only cat there.
I don't think I will though. I think it'll be open by what? May 15th?
Vegas might be open. I don't know. I don't know about Nevada. I really don't know. But I'm just saying, like,
My only question to you, Mike, is what is the goal of like putting yourself on a time limit? Is it like if you were to leave May 15th so that you knew that, you know, everything was fine when you were going down there, is it the thrill? Is it like the idea that it might not be open yet that like is exciting?
It's a thrill, and two, I'm not the U.S. government. I don't keep pushing my dates back and then keep going again and again. I said May 1st. I said April 1st. I literally couldn't leave, but if they're saying that it's going to be open, like Louisiana and stuff, I'm leaving. You know?
But I'm just saying, because it's all about the experience, right? So are you looking for the experience of seeing like, I don't know what is happening, or are you looking for the best possible experience? Because if you're looking for like to be able to play gigs and like stop at every state and have a good time, then you might want to just wait 2 more weeks. But if you want to experience the deadness and like,
I think I do.
then go whenever.
I do.
But I
I
think
don't
you
know.
have to admit that you kind of want it.
I can't explain it. I feel like it's time. It's
you
time.
also have to treat this like round two, man. You gotta. If you go and come back in a couple days, man, I'm gonna be on you.
I'm not, unless I'm literally forced to go back. I mean, I'm gonna give it a whole year, no matter what. That's what I've decided on.
I'm glad you committed to that idea because I think that's the best idea you could go. Or it's like you're taking the year to go find whatever you can out of this.
Yeah, well, let's see what's going on May 1st, 2021. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, if you want to stop by, can't promise there's too much shit going on here though. It's pretty fucking dead.
Yeah. That's the thing. I might be more free in the other states than traveling up there, but by time, you know.
I guess time will tell. We'll have to see in 10 days what you're going to have to make sure to Google up all the restaurants that have Wi-Fi. There's no Dunkin's past the Mississippi. I don't know about. They're all over there.
There has to be something like this, right?
I mean, must probably be Starbucks, Starfox. But I don't know. You'll just have to find some
Oh,
places.
Starbucks doesn't let you.
What?
I tried Starbucks already. It doesn't work.
What? They won't let you, or it just they
Starbucks
turn
says
the,
we're currently closed, so
Yeah, they closed down a couple
so
of
they,
days back.
so they turn down all the Wi-Fi off too.
yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're done.
I do say
Nobody
that
knows what the fuck we're talking about anymore.
all I'm saying is I think that we just have to constantly find some sort of light and positivity through this, because we can't be like depressing people and like giving Mike no hope, because like you're gonna have a hell of an experience no matter what time you leave. But it's just like everyone wants you to have the best time possible. But if the first half of your trip is dead, the second half of your trip is live. Like there's a story, there's some songs. Like go see what you can find.
Either way, you're gonna have a good influence for music.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're also, I think it's also going to give you a good perspective on how different each state kind of is in a time like this. Because you're probably going to see like some states don't give a crap, but some states are going to be a lot more strict.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna really see what's going on out there instead of all these rumors.
That's why I think you should just document the whole thing through TikTok or whatever it may be. You got to do daily vlogs.
I'm definitely, I'm documenting it.
Bro,
sure.
you should get a cheap
start
GoPro.
now, though. Take that TikTok out and start now, at least 1 week before you leave, and start talking about it.
I don't know about Tik, but let's see.
Yeah, what's up with TikTok? How is that a documentary?
Because Mike doesn't understand how easy it is to grow on there and how quickly his music can spread overnight. Especially when you're following a story of someone traveling the country in a time of quarantine.
Actually, Mike, you could, yeah, that could be something.
I mean, I'm just saying, I think a lot of people would want to follow that trip.
All right, I'm gonna do it. But I mean, I'm gonna start not now, but before I leave, like a day before.
I would just start it like 3 or 4 days before you go, and just say I'm leaving in a couple of days. Talk about what you're doing and how you're preparing, and just to stay tuned.
Sure.
Or not. I mean, it's up to you.
No, I'm going to.
But I guess that's it.
Why does everyone seem bummed out?
I'm not at all.
We're not bummed out.
You guys are getting me a little deep feed over here.
What's that mean?
Getting me deep feed.
Dude, it actually might be great, because you know what? We could actually do like episodes when you're like in the middle of fucking middle of nowhere, Louisiana or something. And just
No,
I
I think you're gonna have to find like a central chain. Maybe it's Walmart's, maybe it's Caribou's, maybe it's who knows. Just find a spot with Wi-Fi in every state.
A lot of time to find it.
What?
I said I'll have a whole lot of time to find that.
Good. This is probably one of your number one priorities. It's making it weekly on here.
Yeah, besides food.
Yeah, and talk to Sal about joining a week.
Yeah, I'll ask him. He'll definitely.
I'm probably gonna ask one of my homies. All right,
I think. By the way, I might get Shields on for next week.
All right. Well, we got
Mr. Political. I mean, I'm down to have whoever, so don't matter to me.
So we got a message about that, because we can't be saying I'm gonna bring Sal and Shields. Like, what's going on here? Who's coming on?
Well, stay tuned. We'll let you know.
All right. I'll see you guys later.